Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now February 13th of 2021, and ever since the very end of The Mandalorian Season 2 by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, a lot of fans have been very curious and skeptical about the future of Star Wars by, of course, Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that, yes, we do know that the entrance of Luke Skywalker into the very end of Mando Season 2 had a great emotional impact on the entire fandom around the world, and a lot of Lucasfilm creators and even some Star Wars fans out there were criticizing others on how many were actually expressing their emotions about Luke Skywalker coming back into the mix. You know, one thing one of my buddies, Chris Hernandez, actually brought up, and let me know if you guys agree with him, is that it's more than just a movie, it's more than just a TV show when it comes to Star Wars overall. You know, it's not just a movie and or a TV show. There's a reason as to why, you know, a lot of fans got choked up and or shed tears over that moment of Luke. Even he did. You know, even he had a moment in which he got very choked up about the entrance of Luke into Season 2. So let me know if you guys agree with that overall philosophy of Star Wars, of how it's more than just a movie and or a TV show, because of how it really does draw a lot from philosophy and more. Now, on to everything of what has been happening behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm, and of course Kathleen Kennedy and the Gina Carano situation. We've been talking about this for the past 48 hours, give or take. A lot of things have been happening over the course of those hours. And we have actually witnessed, you know, what has been happening, you know, with the overall fandom pretty much, you know, expressing their own opinions on the Gina Carano dilemma as we speak. Now, with that being said, of course, with The Mandalorian Season 3 now in development, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are actively working on the Mandoverse for Disney+, which of course consists of The Mandalorian seasons, the Ahsoka Tano series, and more. Now, further is described that behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm, some setbacks are being put in place for some of the TV shows due to the Gina Carano situation. However, in a recent interview, Kathleen Kennedy was able to respond to the Star Wars fandom when she was questioned about the state of the Star Wars franchise. Kathleen Kennedy at one point in time was able to state that Star Wars fans can be overly demanding when it comes to what the material should be within the franchise and how that is actually put on film or on television, and that this is what puts pressure on the writers, where Kennedy went on to unveil that Leslie Headland will not be going by demands or requests by the Star Wars fandom and or source material, and will be doing something completely unique that will create a new era of fans that actually will be put in place for the Acolyte. Now, those fans are actually set to enjoy the new material on a blank canvas, according to Kennedy. Apart from that, Kennedy also states that the Acolyte is set to detach itself from the loud minority of fans that had issues with the sequel trilogy movies, most, of course, The Last Jedi. Completely separate from that is, of course, it's described that behind the scenes, Kathleen Kennedy has long wanted Gina Carano to be fired from the Mandalorian series, based on how she did not agree with Pedro Pascal's outlook on Star Wars and what it should stand for, and that her firing is more than what she actually had posted on social media, and that there were some creative differences in place for The Mandalorian Season 3. Now, let me stop right here for a second. Now, though Kathleen Kennedy did not mention anything to do with, you know, Gina Carano, she did mention things about the Acolyte, Leslie Headland, her viewpoint on the fandom, and how the fandom, in her eyes, are overly demanding. I don't believe that. I believe that the fans are just passionate. They really do believe in what they actually love when it comes to this overall franchise. And they just want to see the best when it comes to Star Wars. They just want the best to happen for the franchise, right? And that's how I translate it, is that when you have what I call the loud majority, I don't believe it's a minority. I believe it's a majority of what happened with the sequel trilogy and how so many fans were raising their arms. It's a majority in my eyes, not a minority. Just let me be clear on that. But that, to me, translates to passionate fans, because we were only asking for common sense. We were only asking for those wow moments that we got in Mando Season 2. Look at what Jon Favreau did in Season 2 of Mando. We had the Ahsoka Tano sequence in Chapter 13, I believe. Then we had, of course, Luke in the last episode. And we also had Boba Fett, Bo-Katan, I mean the whole 9 yards, and it's only going to get better. That's exactly what fans wanted. They just wanted a little bit of fan service from Lucasfilm that would be done in a proper way. I get that the term fan service, or that phrase if you will, sometimes gets a bad rap, but overall I think that when we look at the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they pay attention to the fans because they're going by the source material. They're going by what the fans want to see, either on the big screen or at home on a streaming service like Disney+. I mean, look at WandaVision. Look at how great WandaVision is performing. You know, that to me is like the equivalent of The Mandalorian of Star Wars, right? That's pretty much also a great start for Marvel in the form of television on Disney+, you know, primarily. So, everything related to this entire situation, obviously a lot of fans have different opinions on the Gina Carano situation and how they view her post on social media, on Twitter. We talked about this before a couple of days ago. I just want to say one thing here, is that Kathleen Kennedy was never fit for Star Wars. We do know that she screwed up with the sequel trilogy. She never really fulfilled George Lucas's vision. She never really kept in line with his overall outlook on Star Wars and her promises. She never really even paid much attention to the Star Wars fandom, let alone that, right? So, the other point here being is that Kathleen Kennedy is trying to create new Star Wars fans. She basically admitted it when it came to the acolyte discussion. How Leslie Headland is not going to be paying attention to the fandom's requests because it only diverts their attention away from what they want to write on the script. Some of you might agree with that, that's fine, but I don't. I feel that they should listen to the fans to a certain extent. Look at what Jon Favreau did. He listened to the fans in a proper way, and it just worked. Ahsoka Tano, Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, Luke, all done in a very well thought out way. Now, the thing about Leslie and Kathleen is that what they're doing is that they're trying to create this new band of fans that's going to accept Star Wars that'll be done by not listening to the fans, if that makes sense at all. So, obviously, it's going to be quite a mess when it comes to the Acolyte series. I do believe it's going to be a Batwoman 2.0 situation where you're going to see this pretty much be cancelled at Season 1. Then they're going to try to do everything to bring it back and do recasts and all this crazy stuff. We'll have to see what happens. Even if it does make it to Disney+, we'll have to wait and see. So like I've said before in the past, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know anything about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.